The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look on a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a lady who's from New Hampshire, and she has 3 children, 4, 3, and 2, and her youngest is currently at a hospital right now with a rare skull condition, and she has a story to tell. And this is all about how this happened, how that came about, and also asking for your help tremendously for those in the New Hampshire area. And also we encourage everybody nationwide and worldwide to do the same as well, too. And right now, live, ladies and gentlemen, from New Hampshire, here is the mother of 2-year-old Brandon. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have Heather Figueroa. Heather, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Well, we're doing good. Well, it's actually Bransons, so I need some coffee here, especially if it's morning here on the Mike Wagner Show. So you have a 2-year-old son who faced skull reconstruction surgery last October for rare condition where the bones and a baby skull formed together too soon, possibly interfering with brain growth. And, of course, you also have a GoFundMe page to get more people to donate as well too. And of course, before we get into the whole story, and tell us how the whole thing got started.
So it was last May, I was cutting both of our sons' hair because, we live in Nottingham. We have 3 acres of land and we're outside a lot. So it's just easier to have their hair cut short. And I noticed Branson, when I was cutting his head, his forehead, it kind of had like frontal bossing, and the top of his head didn't really match the back. It was like it popped out, and I was like, I looked at my mom because I was there visiting. I'm like, does this look strange to you? I was just puzzled. She's like, I think you should. I agree. Call the PCP. So we did, and luckily we were able to get in the next day on Saturday because our office has Saturday hours. And the doctor said, Mom, what do you want me to do? I'm leaving this in your hands. I said, I don't know. I think we should do some imaging. And he's like, you know what? We're going to order a CT. We ended up going the following Saturday. And it was confirmed a few days after that, the beginning of June, that our son had a condition called craniosynostis, which is what you just explained. It's one or more sutures in a child's skull fused too early. So it's the premature suturing of one or numerous sutures. And our son, Branson, his was the sagittal suture and his squamosal sutures, which are on the side. So long story short, we went to a bunch of doctors. Not many doctors wanted to touch him. They thought it would just be a cosmetic surgery since his eye exam didn't show any ICP, which is intracranial pressure, or any issues with his optic nerves. But I just felt, and as a mom, I just knew that something wasn't right. He wasn't sleeping at night. He'd wake up screaming, saying his head hurt. He couldn't lay flat. And then he would sleep for hours during the day, and it was very hard to wake him up. And, like you said, I have a 4 3 2-year-old. So my other 2 children, yes, every child is different, but the way they act, their sleeping habits and everything are pretty similar in their personalities as, they go through the developmental stages. So I wasn't taking no for an answer. And we went to Dartmouth and Lebanon, and they agreed that I either should go to Children's, or they referred me to Vermont. We went to Children's Hospital through the emergency room, and we were consulted basically because of insurance issues through emails with the assistant. And they said that pretty much our son didn't have craniosynostosis, and the CT scan that was done wasn't the one that they usually do, and it probably was artifacts. So I just ignored them because I knew that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. And we ended up in Vermont with 2 awesome doctors. And as soon as they saw Branson, they could tell the difference in his head. They pointed out the squamosal sutures right away. They pulled up a CT scan, and they were very, very informative and explained everything. And they recommended the CVR, which is a cranial vault reconstructive surgery. Mm-hmm. And we had that done October 16th of 2018. And like I was saying to you earlier, they didn't explain that this could regress. It's very rare, but the body and the bones can resuture back together. Mm-hmm. Well, about 3 months ago, Branson started regressing again, and he started sleeping a lot during the day, up at night, and he was crying and just complaining a lot more because he's more vocal now, as being 2.5, that his head would hurt. So I recorded a couple of videos, and I ended up going back to the doctor in Vermont, the plastic surgeon, because the neurosurgeon left, and he basically explained that he didn't think I had anything to worry about. He was fine. This was probably him just playing games with me because he's a toddler, and I was very standoff of that, and so I haven't gone back to him or reached out to him again. He left me a voicemail, and I just haven't responded. Mm-hmm. And so the CT, yes, like I explained, came back and it said that, his sagittal suture refused, and now he has partial coronal suturing that's fused, which he didn't have prior. So we reached out to this wonderful doctor in Texas, Dr. Jeffrey Ferron, and he's a world-known craniofacial doctor, and he does over 100 cases a year, and he's just incredible. And he was the first person that I reached out to last year when I found out about craniosynostosis, because I had no idea what it was. And I found these wonderful Facebook groups, and that's what they told me. You could reach out to this doctor. He's wonderful. He gives consults to you, via email, and you can send him everything you have, and he'll just lead you in the right direction. Like, his passion, is to help children. And so I reached out to him, and because, like I said, we talked last year, and then I recently again reached out to him, and he couldn't even fathom what happened to Branson's head. He's like, it looks like the surgery was partially done. It wasn't finished. Mm-hmm. And we did a telemedicine visit, and he really saw his head. And then we sent him the CT scan, and he got the CT report, and he's like, he needs to have surgery. Like, he will benefit. He needs to have this, this corrected and done right, because his vortex bulge in the top of his head he said is a bit worrisome to him. And they don't know if he has pressure, because that's the other thing. An eye exam, so for cases like craniosynostosis, the first thing a lot of doctors recommend is getting an eye exam to see if, like I was mentioning, anything with the optic nerve, there's any pressure, which could indicate ICP. Well, my son had it done last year in September. Well, when they cut my son's head open October 16th, there's parts of his skull that were imprinted his brain because of ICP. Mm. So, yeah, that goes to show that eye exam, it isn't 100%, so that's why I'm like, I don't know, it's a in my eyes, it's a pointless test.
And what are the odds of getting a cranial stenosis since it's considered a rare skull condition?
Yeah, I think it's like 1 in almost 3,000 births, and
Wow.
it actually is more common in males. Yeah.
And you're saying it's more common, and what do you think?
In males.
Emails. Okay, I thought it was
males.
Oh, in males. Okay, because
Yep.
because I was trying to figure out with the whole thing with the cranial stenosis that has this been like a recent discovery that came up, or has been like or if you did research, what was like the first one that came in? How long ago was it? Sounds like 1 in 3,000. It's pretty rare, maybe going way back, or if this is more recent that nobody found out about.
Yeah, well, with our son, no one knew. He was misdiagnosed pretty much and missed as an infant. You know, the pediatricians, the first pediatrician we had, like, you know how, when you bring your child to the doctors when they're babies, they measure every visit, their head growth and everything to make sure their head's growing how it should be. Well, things were obviously transpiring and no one, either they weren't doing the measurements properly or they weren't explaining them correctly or writing them in the computer, because this should have been caught when he was a baby, because he could have had a less invasive surgery and it would have been endoscopically. Because when Branson had his last October, it was 7.5 hours and he needed 4 blood transfusions. He had 3 in the OR and then 1 the next day.
And do you think, like you said, this could have been detected earlier, and was this not detected in any of these children like earlier before?
I don't know, because like I said, every case is different. But usually, yeah, a lot of times it's found like doctors now are, they're more informed with craniosynostosis because it does seem like more children are being born with this. As the years go on, it seems like it's not as rare as it used to be, because I've been able to connect a bunch of people, because I shared our son's story on You Local from WMUR last year, and it went all around the world, and we did these wonderful interviews, and I mean, it got craniosynostosis out there for awareness, and people that were in their 70s never even knew that there was other people in the area that had it. So it's really wonderful to connect people, but it does seem that it is happening more and more now. Because I've never heard of it before. My son last year, I never heard of this condition.
And of course, talk about possibly interfering with brain growth, and if it were to happen, that how would it affect the brain, like in behavior or thinking or anything like that?
Yeah, he can have seizures. I mean, death in worst case scenarios. Because it's pressure on your brain, and your brain can only have so much pressure, and it's really scary to think about. That's why we did the surgery in the first place, is to reconstruct his skull, to be able to put the plates and screws in to expand his skull back to a normal form and let his brain continue developing normally. But now, since it regressed, he has to do it all over again.
And with the whole cranial stenosis, you went through a whole hassle. Do you think a lot of them are avoiding it for insurance purposes?
I mean,
I'm talking about doctors. It's like, they have to file like through the either private insurance, government insurance, or whatsoever. Do you think, say with the insurance or possibly malpractice, you think they're avoiding it for a reason?
I don't necessarily think they're avoiding. I just think I can only speak for my son's case. He's older, and so maybe more doctors that we've gone to are more experienced on doing it with, like the operations on a smaller child, like an infant, and their skull is a lot different than someone my son's age, because it's pretty much formed, it's already calcified. So it's a lot harder. And the surgeons even explained that it took longer because they had to cut through, bone. Like they had to do strips, and, it was very invasive. But I mean, I just wish there was more awareness of craniosynostosis, and I wish that doctors, and I'm just speaking on our experience, that paid more attention, because us as parents, I mean, you don't know, your child's head, it comes out, it can look different, cone shapes, rounded on one side, they don't tell you. And I just wish that they could give us a better understanding on what to look for. Because I feel like Branson could have been, this could have been taken care of a long time ago, and we wouldn't be going through this right now, and now trying to raise $50,000 just for his surgery.
And what is the next step again for Brandon besides surgery?
What do you mean? Right now, or?
Right now or later on. What's the next step?
So after he has surgery, will fly back down to Texas for his post-op visit, and then they'll monitor him and see, I think it's through the year how his skull is forming again, and hopefully it's not going to regress. And usually if everything looks well, he won't need another surgery, except possibly they might just go in to smooth out the areas where like the skull, when they fuse, like how the plates dissolved.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with our doctor. I don't think it was done completely the way it should, or, maybe his body just reabsorb things, and that's why it's the way it is.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we'll talk about how one person can help, or everybody can help with the surgery. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with Heather Figueroa out of New Hampshire. She's talking about her 2-year-old son, Branson, who has the craniosynostis disease as well, too, and he's going to be needing to go down for surgery, and it's going to cost $50,000, and she's also going to a GoFundMe program. And tell us about the GoFundMe and how can people help?
Yes, I started that on the 16th of June, and it's basically to raise money for his surgery and for us to be able to travel, since they don't accept our insurance. And Dr. Ferron does a special budget for families that will be able to afford it, or, try to raise the money for the surgery. So we created that, and our local news station also did an interview with us the other night, and it's wonderful. We're already up to almost $16,000. So it's
amazing.
Truly, it's unreal. It's everyone keeps messaging me, and I'm like, I can't stop crying with just so much appreciation. It's unbelievable. People that we've never met,
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing, too. And you started, and a lot of pouring coming in. And what are some other things to do when it comes to fundraising besides GoFundMe?
Just send your prayers, and, just if you're able to donate anything, it would be so much appreciative. But yeah, just sharing our story and sending prayers and positive vibes, truly, I believe, is what is going to get us to Texas.
Mm-hmm. And how can people help once again?
So it's the GoFundMe that I have up. It's I don't recall the exact, but it's Branson's Surgery and Travel, Branson Figueroa, and it's made by myself, Heather Figueroa.
It is. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. And also, what do you have upcoming plans for 2020 and beyond when it comes to Branson?
So, as of right now, his primary care is just gonna continue to monitor him until we go to Texas in October. But our date won't be set until August, since everything was COVID for a while. Surgeries and things that weren't involved with COVID, they shut down the hospital to do those, to have more beds. But as of right now, I called their office, and it's still good to go for October. So now we're just pretty much waiting the date, and I have to give the deposit for a part of the surgery when the date's set.
And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Best advice?
Yes.
The best advice, I feel, especially as a mom watching and going through this with our child, is just never to give up. Always know that you are your child's advocate. And you need to just always push and push and push until you know that it's taken care of, because they're these little beings that you create, and they trust you with your whole life and their whole heart, and you always have to be their voice. And sometimes you get knocked down, and in our situation, many doctors kind of dismissed us last year, but we as parents, we just knew that we could not stop pushing and advocating for our child, and I'm very happy that we did.
Mm-hmm. And once again, what's the website for people to donate for Branson's upcoming surgery?
So, if you don't mind, I'm going to get the link right now. So if you go to, it's GoFundMe.com. It's Help for Branson Surgery and Travel. And the GoFundMe link is, you can find it at the bottom, or you can share, or it's https:/u/x9ifga.
Okay. And also for those experiencing their loved ones with craniosynostis, what are some of the support groups that people can go to and on the web, in groups, and in person? How can get people more information about craniosynosis?
Well, there's like CAPS Kids. They do a really awesome, they have a whole foundation for craniosynostosis, Cranio Care Bears that Shelby and Summer created. It's all off donations. They create care packages all around the world for children that are going for surgeries for craniosynostosis or craniofacial abnormalities. Honestly, what I did was I reached out on Facebook, and they just have, like, you can type in craniosynostosis, and that's how I found all these wonderful groups and amazing parents and individuals that are going through exactly what we're going through and our son's going through. And the outpouring love and support is truly incredible. I mean, the past year I've made closer friends on those groups than I have personally in my life, and I've never met them.
Wow. That is amazing. You're in our prayers, Heather. And once again, Heather, a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic, and stay strong. Looking forward to again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. You're in our prayers. And all the best to Branson.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.